On the surface, Jordan Burnham was a high schooler with everything going for him. He was a popular kid and a star athlete who was even nominated to the homecoming court. But behind the smiles was a lot of pain. Jordan was diagnosed with depression at 16 and 2 years later tried to take his own life. He survived a 90-foot fall and is here to share his story with us. Please welcome Jordan Burnham. Your story is one that I think needs to be known by everyone. Please tell everyone where you were at that time in your life when you decided you didn't want to live.
Yes, I was actually 18. I was a senior, just the beginning of my senior year of high school. And leading up to this, when I was 16, I was diagnosed with depression. And I didn't take it seriously because I didn't know the difference between feeling depressed and being diagnosed with depression. Because anyone can be depressed at any given point, but more times than not, you know what you're depressed about. So it was very confusing having depression to wake up one day, have no idea why you're crying.
So your depression was different. You said it was like being in a haze.
Right. With my depression, when I was going through deep and dark times, it's like wearing sunglasses 24/7. When you're in the light, the positive things still are shaded, and then when you're in the dark, it's that much darker. That's what it was like for me with my depression and not feeling like I can talk about it. Because when I was diagnosed, I figured that is what defines me as a person. I am depression. I have depression. No one's going to want to be around me. And I never wanted it to be an excuse for what I was going through, so I just didn't take it seriously. And leading up to my suicide attempt, I was struggling in school. I felt like I was letting my parents down by drinking, which is what I was self-medicating with, going back and forth with taking an antidepressant.
Which a lot of people do. A lot of people who are depressed, clinically depressed, maybe not diagnosed, they self-medicate with drugs and alcohol.
Right. And so, leading up to this, I upset my parents, disappointed my parents, and everything in the world felt numb to me in the beginning of my senior year. And that night, actually, my parents confronted me about alcohol that was in the trunk of my car. And one thing to note about my suicide attempt was impulsive. I didn't write a letter or a note, but when my dad dropped that duffel bag full of alcohol, there was a trigger in my brain saying, I don't belong here anymore. That was the night that I...
You remember that? You
Absolutely.
remember having that?
Absolutely. Remember that feeling, remember that thought, and I remember the expressions on my parents' faces, and wearing those sunglasses, I'm internalizing it as they don't want me to be their son anymore. What's the point in being here if I can't make anyone happy? And that night, I went out of my 9-story bedroom window. When I hit the ground, I broke my left fibula, my left tibia. I shattered my left femur, broke my pelvis, I broke my jaw in 4 different places, broke my left wrist. I was bleeding internally from my brain and my organs. When I was in the hospital that night, I was actually induced into a coma for 5 days. I was given 24 hours to live. 24 hours go by, I'm given a 48-hour span to live. That goes by, and then I'm given a 40% chance to live. And remarkably, with all the work in the hospital, with the miracle that I was able to survive, I was able to survive that, go through months in the hospital, months of rehab, physical and mental, to the point where I can share my story today
and help others.
That no one goes through what I did.
Unbelievable. Oh, my goodness. I mean, if there's a higher power, doctors did not think that you would live, let alone walk, but graduation day, you proved them wrong. Take a look at this.
Me and my dad were the only ones who knew what I was going to do. And the way that graduation works is everyone lines up before the basketball court. And I get in the wheelchair, and I meet up with the person I was walking down with. You come down with that walker down at all. People clapping for you.
It's not even a year yet, and here you are walking, actually processing down with the rest of the kids. It was just overwhelming.
I walked to the stage to get my diploma. Everyone starts clapping and cheering, and I get to the stage. I walk over, get my diploma, and I walk down the stairs, and the first person that was there was my dad. I get to the bottom of the stairs, and I give him the biggest hug that we probably ever give each other. I just tell him, Dad, I love you, and thank you for being there for me.
Amazing, amazing. So these days, do you find yourself getting depressed? Do you ever have those thoughts again?
at some point when you're diagnosed with any mental health disorder, whether it be depression, bipolar, anything, you have to learn that you can't get rid of it. You have to learn how to live with it. And you have to accept that. That's what I've been able to do is by, accepting that I have depression. And before I thought, I don't want this to define who I am, but depression does not define me. The work that I do today in speaking out on this subject to young adults, to any adult, to all audiences of all ages.
Yeah, what would you say to them? What do you want them to know about, if they're struggling with their own depression and whether they want to live? What would you say to them?
I want everyone to know that there is hope, and there always is recovery that is right around the corner. And it's not whether you might go through ups and downs or not, it's just whether you're going to speak out on it. And some people look at getting help or getting treatment as a weakness, but I'm here to say that by reaching out to someone, by going to seek help, by seeking treatment, that is one of the strongest traits that you can have is reaching out and getting help, knowing that you're not alone.
You are remarkable. Thank you so much for being here, Jordan. It's great to meet you.